In 1812, the Vice President of the United States' daughter boarded a ship on New Year's Eve and was never seen again. She was supposed to reach New York in less than a week, but the ship never arrived. No wreckage was confirmed, no bodies were recovered, no final letter came home. And for more than 200 years, people have argued over what happened to Theodosia Burr Alston. Was she swallowed by a storm? Taken by pirates? Murdered after a shipwreck? Or did one of America's most famous daughters survive long enough to become someone else's ghost story? This is the disappearance of Theodosia Burr Alston. She was the daughter of Aaron Burr, the former Vice President of the United States, and yes, the same Aaron Burr who killed Alexander Hamilton in a duel. But this story is not really about the duel. It is about what happened years later, when Theodosia stepped onto a schooner called the Patriot and disappeared into one of the strangest mysteries in early American history. By the end of 1812, Theodosia had already been through a brutal season of loss. Her father had been disgraced, tried for treason, and had spent years away from the United States. Then her young son died from malaria. Theodosia was grieving, physically unwell, and desperate to see her father again. So on December 31st, 1812, she boarded the Patriot in Georgetown, South Carolina. The plan was simple. The ship would sail north to New York. The trip should have taken about 5 or 6 days. She was not traveling alone. Her maid was with her. A doctor named Timothy Green was also with her, sent by Aaron Burr to help make sure she arrived safely. Her husband, Joseph Alston, was the governor of South Carolina, and he was worried about the trip. That worry made sense. The United States was at war with Great Britain. The waters along the coast were dangerous. The weather could turn fast. And the route would take the Patriot near Cape Hatteras, an area that would later be known as the graveyard of the Atlantic. Still, Theodosia went. And at first, there was no reason to believe this would become a mystery. The Patriot was not some weak, helpless little boat. It was a fast schooner. It had even served as a privateer during the War of 1812. But after it left Georgetown, everything went silent. The ship never reached New York. Theodosia never reached her father, and no one on board was ever heard from again. At first, the families waited. Then they worried. Then they panicked. 2 weeks passed. No ship, no message, no Theodosia. Joseph Alston wrote that another mail had arrived, and still there was no letter. He had heard rumors of a gale near Cape Hatteras, and he said the state of his mind was dreadful. That one sentence feels painfully human, because at that point, he did not know if his wife was alive, dead, captured, or drifting somewhere beyond help. Aaron Burr was waiting too, and he did not believe the wild rumors. When someone suggested that Theodosia might still be alive, Burr reportedly refused to accept it. He believed that if his daughter were alive, nothing could keep her from him. That part is chilling, because he was not saying it like a man with hope. He was saying it like a father who knew his daughter would have found a way to reach him if she could. The most likely answer is that the Patriot was lost in a storm. There was a severe gale off the Carolina coast around January 2nd, 1813. British ships in the area were reportedly scattered by the weather, and if larger ships were struggling, a schooner like the Patriot may not have stood a chance. That is the sensible answer. A winter storm, dangerous waters, a ship gone down near Cape Hatteras. But mysteries rarely stay sensible, especially when there is no body, no wreck, no proof. And Theodosia was not just any missing passenger. She was the daughter of Aaron Burr. So the rumors began. Some people said pirates had taken the ship. Others claimed the passengers had been murdered. Stories appeared years later about dying sailors confessing to terrible things. One version claimed Theodosia had been forced to walk the plank. Another said the ship had been attacked, looted, or destroyed by people along the coast. But the problem with those stories is that they kept changing. Different pirates, different confessions, different details, and none of it could be proven. It was like the truth had vanished with the Patriot, and people kept trying to fill the empty space with something more dramatic than the sea. Then came the portrait. Decades after Theodosia vanished, a portrait of an unknown woman surfaced near Nags Head, North Carolina. The story said it had survived a shipwreck. Some people believed the woman in the painting looked like Theodosia. That made the mystery even stranger. Was this portrait something she had carried on the ship? Was it meant to be a gift for her father? Had it somehow washed ashore after the Patriot went down? Or was the connection just another legend attached to a woman people could not stop looking for? No one has ever fully proven it, and that is why the portrait became part of the story. Not because it solved the mystery, but because it gave people one more thing to wonder about. There was also another legend, the story of the female stranger. Years after Theodosia disappeared, a mysterious woman reportedly arrived in Alexandria, Virginia, with a man who refused to reveal her identity. She became ill, died, and was buried under a grave marked only "female stranger." Some people later wondered if that woman could have been Theodosia. But again, there was no proof, just a strange woman, a hidden identity, and a public that wanted Theodosia's story to have another ending. Because maybe that is what makes this case linger. It is not just that a woman disappeared. It is that she disappeared at the exact kind of moment where people want meaning. She was grieving. She was trying to reunite with her father. She stepped onto a ship on the last day of the year, and then she vanished before the new year could truly begin. That feels almost like too much of a coincidence to be random. The thing is that sometimes we won't always have a clear answer. When you think about the answer may not be a villain, pirates, or some secret life she was hiding. It's possible it was just bad weather, bad timing, and a stretch of ocean that was large and dangerous. Still, the questions remain. Why was there no confirmed wreckage? What happened in those final hours? Did the Patriot go down quickly? Did anyone survive long enough to know they were lost? And how did a woman who was already connected to one of America's most infamous men become a mystery of her own? The most likely answer is that Theodosia Burr Alston died at sea in early January of 1813. But because the Patriot was never found, we really don't know what happened. When I think about this story, it sounds like part history, part grief, and part legend. And that is why, over 200 years later, we still don't really know the truth. So what do you think happened? Let me know in the comments. I'm Ivy Monroe, and this is Her Strange Hour, where we talk about strange history, real mysteries, and forgotten women. Thank you for spending this strange hour with me. And if you want more short, strange mysteries, check out the Bizarre Lunchtime Tales playlist.